We are looking at this Rata. It's 700 years old. It's a northern Rata, and obviously it's toppled over, but there is still life. There is life growing on it. There is still life in it. It has toppled over. It's about 700 years old. There's lots of moss and lichen and other rako, other trees that are growing on it. But once this Rata, this huge Rata, was a tiny, tiny little vine, a little aka, a little vine. And it had attached itself to a po, to a host tree, in the pursuit of reaching for the light, of being in the light, of reaching above the canopy of the ngahere to be in the light. That was its mission, that was its goal, was to grow into this rākau rangatira, the large and huge tree that it does grow into, to reach for the light. And when it is in its full potential, it is this amazing tree that stands above the canopy, and you can tell that it's a Rata because it has kind of, to me, it's got these straggly kind of looking gnarly branches that reach up above the canopy of the forest. And in the summertime or springtime, they have beautiful crimson flowers that appear, and so you can see in the ngahere, you just look to see all these beautiful crimson blossoms in the summertime, and that is the Rata. Very similar to our pohutakawa tree, but the colour is slightly different in that you can, it's just a nice softer crimson. But I just wanted to say that our environment reflects to us who we are at any given moment. It can be a guide for us, it can support us, it can show us who we are, what we need to work on, what needs to be released, and it can be quite confronting. It can be quite confronting. So we're here today to look at this Rata and how it grows in the ngahere, how it grows in the forest, and what aspects of this Rata can reveal to us aspects in our life. So if I share to you that this Rata, that's 700 years old, started off as a tiny little seedling, a little vine. It attached itself to a rākau rangatira, which is another large tree. It attached itself, then it started to grow little roots and attach itself to the tree even more. Then it started to grow branches or little, what do you call them? Little branches that kept attaching itself to the tree and started to climb this rākau rangatira. We're going to call this tree that it's growing on the po, because that's what it is. It's like a po. It's like it is grounded in Mother Earth. It is solid and firm and doesn't move. It is like a strong force anchored in Papatūānuku. And it's almost like the Rata can sense this about the po that it searches for to land on. So it's on the po and it's growing, and as it's sending down roots, it's also sending up branches, and it starts to go out, and you start to see hundreds of little leaves, little green leaves coming out so that it can photosynthesize, because it's trying to receive all this light And it just keeps growing. It keeps growing up the po, and the vine itself starts to thicken. It starts to get bigger and bigger, and it really anchors itself into this po. The vine that's really thick sends it down into the earth and connects to the earth and anchors itself into the earth, and that's when it really starts to take form, because it's grounded in Papatūānuku and it's receiving more nutrients from the earth. It's also receiving nutrients from the host tree, from the po that it's on. Once it's anchored in Papatūānuku, it can shoot itself up towards Ranginui, towards the light, towards the heavens. So it is climbing. It starts growing, and over many, many, many years, this vine thickens with all the other vines that the Rata has set down. They all merge and start to submerge this po, this rākau rangatira, the host. It submerges itself, it envelops the po, so that eventually you don't actually see the po that it's attached itself to. It has completely submerged it, feeding off it, and growing, still growing. And then it keeps going for the light, and then it holds on, anchors itself onto the po, and keeps going up, up, up. And if it's attached itself to a large tree like a tōtara or a kahikatea or rimu, it will certainly keep growing. Once it gets to the top of the po, it still keeps growing. The rata keeps growing, so then it's out of the canopy, able to look around, be in the light. It's reached its potential. It's up there. It's able to bloom and show its beauty to the world. And that can take hundreds of years to reach that state. Now, just thinking about the rata, how does the rata reflect to you aspects of your life in the way that it was in pursuit of reaching its full potential, to bloom, to reach for the light? How does that reveal aspects in your life, or show you how you reach for the light? It's pretty spectacular. Do you have a po in your life that supports you to reach for the light? Do you have a po that nourishes you and guides you and allows you to reach for the light? These are really confronting questions, because you start to look at the people in your life who are the po in your life, and how they support you, and how strong they really are, and how they're so selfless in that they allow you to reach for the light. I think these are really beautiful questions to ask and to reflect on. Really beautiful, because you start to think about the po, and if you are the rata in this scenario, how can you support the po, or how do you support the po? Well, we can look at rata and how it supports its po in order for it to reach for the light. And we can look at how it does that. And in order to do that, we need to look at the characteristics of the po itself and their role. Behind me is a rata. You can see the vine growing up, a big rākau rangatira, a large tree, which is a tawa. So in this case, the po, or the host tree, is a tawa, and they can grow really tall, really tall. And so in this case, the rata has attached itself to quite a huge rākau rangatira, in that it will be able to reach above the canopy of the ngahere, the canopy of the forest, to reach for the light. So what could we say about the po in this case? You know, it's such a selfless act. And I always think about, over many, many years, centuries, that, you know, all trees, plants, they grow, they evolve, so they develop their own mechanisms to protect themselves. So they have chemicals that they might produce to ward off predators that have been attacking them for centuries. They start to evolve and create all these things within them that protect them in the environment. So for instance, the kauri, their limbs drop off so that they don't have any lower limbs, and it's hard for any vines to climb the kauri because there's no limbs, and it's a different type of surface. Their bark falls off. But in these cases, these rākau, these trees, these rata are still attaching themselves to them. So they haven't created anything within them to stop the rata from growing on them. And not just the rata, but other epiphytes as well. Sometimes they need the epiphytes, plants that grow on them, to create communities, to create an environment, an ecosystem. It creates moisture when there are other plants growing on a tree. They create communities, and flourishing communities. And even in that, there's insights as to how nature can guide us into creating our own community. How do the trees that grow, that have all these abundant plants that grow on them, they have little ecosystems growing on them. They grow, the po grow, and the community comes to them. So what is the po doing that enables the community to come towards them, to establish themselves? These are the questions that we can look to in our environment for guidance and support. The trees already know how to live, to be. The trees know how to be. They have been doing it for millions and millions of years. And some of our rākau in Aotearoa have been here since the year of the dinosaur, so Gondwana land. So we've got horopito and things like the kotoke, that type of fern, and the niko. These are rākau that have been growing in that period. They've got DNA that is from that period. They are so ancient that their insights, their messages that they have for us would be tuturu, would be incredibly supportive and incredibly insightful. So, I digress. We're coming back to the po. So the po creates communities. So they don't ask for the communities to come to them. They just become a po, in that they are firmly anchored in Papatūānuku, so that they can grow towards the light as well. But they are focusing on strengthening themselves into the earth, anchoring them like a solid po for strength and power, and they are a force in the ngahere. They are a force in nature. They are unmoving. They are unshakable. They are able to withstand the storms. They have proven themselves to be anchors of light. That's what they are. And I start to think whether their goal is to reach for the light, and I know that is all of our goal. We are to reach for the light, and trees do that. That is their goal, that is their blueprint. But sometimes I think that some rākau rangatira, especially the po, are there to be the light, to be the light. They are the anchor for the ngahere, so that communities can grow around them to reach for the light. Because we always need a community to be in the light, to establish more communities. So sometimes I think that rākau rangatira, they are the light. They focus on just being the light and anchoring themselves firmly in Papatūānuku to withstand the tests of time through storms and earthquakes and all sorts of weather patterns. And they prove themselves to be anchors of light, pillars of light. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I really do like that. And so when the Rata attaches themselves to a po, perhaps the po allows it to be. Allows it to be. Its mission, its goal is to be an anchor of light. And perhaps it is an anchor of light for Rata. Perhaps it is calling Rata to it, to reach for the light. One is a pillar of light, standing firm and strong, anchored in Papatūānuku. It has to be, in order for Rata to reach for the light. What else could do that? How else could Rata reach for the light if it did not have a po? I really like that. I really like that. And so, there is mana, there is graciousness and respect and reverence towards the po, because of this amazing way of being that the po have taken on. There is so much mana in that. So, where in your life would the po reveal aspects in your life? Are you a po? Or do you need to look at your po in your life in a different light? I am telling you The ngahere, our environment, they show amazing guidance. They reveal to you what you need to know at any given moment. I think that is so beautiful. Let's just sit with that. Let's just sit with that. I think that the next time that you're in the ngahere or in the forest and you see a rata growing, look at the po. Marvel at the po. It has so much mana for being an anchor of light. Yeah. And just like the Rata, at some point in our life, we have to go in pursuit of our own alignment within our own consciousness. At some point in our life, we have to find out who we are at the core. And that means that you have to put your head above the canopy to see the vastness of the world, to see the expansiveness, or to feel that radiant light upon your face. When we're part of a community or a group or family group, any type of group, our consciousness, our state of consciousness stays in the realm of the consciousness of the group. So wherever you have been raised or wherever you are at the moment, look around you. Look around you to see what you are a part of, what groups, your friends, because your state of being will be in the same consciousness as that group. And groups are wonderful. They are wonderful to be part of when you're growing, and you're growing together, and you're learning together and growing. But at some point, and this could be within families as well, at some point you lift your head above the canopy and you notice that there is more to understand, there is more to learn and to pursue. Just like the Rata or any rākau that is reaching for the light, they know that that is what it's about, is to keep growing. Growth is so important. When you stay in one particular realm or one particular place, you start to become stagnant and pool. And you can only grow. You have to take that solo journey. You have to take that journey alone, because the group consciousness will keep you at a certain state. And if you do have your own ideas or insights that are unique to you and different to the group, you will be isolated or feel isolated, so that you return back to the group, that consciousness. You can take it further by even looking at communities, cities, just people in general. If you're a part of something and you put your head out of the canopy and want to do something different or even think differently, the community will always bring you back into their way of thinking, because it's safe. And that's why when you put your head out of the canopy, you do it alone. You do your internal reflecting alone. It's a pilgrimage. It's a sacred pathway that you do on your own to find out who you are, to understand consciousness, to grow. And like the po, you anchor yourself into Papatūānuku, you anchor yourself and strengthen the light within you. Strengthen that fire. Keep building that light within you with your practices, learning to trust your intuition, your instincts, following that guidance, remaining firmly anchored in the earth, which is why nature is very powerful. And then it keeps you grounded. There are no belief systems in the ngahere. They are just eternally growing. That is their blueprint. That is their DNA, is to grow, to evolve, to reach for the light. They want you to grow with them. And so that's why they're very supportive of growth. And so we can look to them for guidance. We can look to them for guidance and support. So to remain firmly anchored in Papatūānuku, growing that light within you, strengthening that, and practices that make you feel good, trusting yourself, trusting your own thought process, strengthening that, breathing, meditating, reflecting on everything. Reflect on everything that you believed in, to understand whether you believe in that still. There are so many rākau in the forest, there are so many trees in the forest that can guide you. Yeah. Every tree is a reflection of where you are, and they can guide you. They help you to be present. They help you to be still. Ngā mihi nui.